Louisiana residents spend more on auto insurance than any other state in the nation. According to the latest report from the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, Louisiana's combined average premium is approximately $500 higher than the national average. To explore solutions to the state's skyrocketing insurance rates, I sat down with Insurance Commissioner-elect Tim Temple, who is calling for a special session to deal with Louisiana's insurance crisis when he takes office in January. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Quite a big job you're inheriting.
It is. It is a big job. I knew this before winning, and I'm honored and excited to work with other stakeholders to bring about some solutions to the crisis we're all facing.
Well, we here at LPB and our viewers want to get to know you. So the first obvious question is, why sign up for this job? Louisiana is in the midst of an insurance crisis on all fronts.
It is, and that's just it. Look, I say never. I think if you ask anyone that's been in this industry that's for more than 20, 30, 40 years, they'll tell you they've never seen the crisis to the level that we have now. Not only are we all experiencing a homeowners crisis, we've been experiencing a personal auto crisis for years. On top of that, we've had a commercial auto crisis that the business world has been dealing with for a decade. And now we're also, on top of that, a commercial property. I think we need to have a commissioner that understands the complexities of insurance.
So let's talk about your backstory. 20 plus years in all areas just about of the insurance industry. In a nutshell, help viewers understand the experience that you bring to the job.
Yeah, so I grew up in the small town of DeRidder. I grew up in this industry. My father was involved in the insurance industry, and I grew up under an insurance roof, if you will. It's in my blood, it's in my DNA. And over my 20 plus years, I started off as an insurance agent, working in Shreveport. My family started a company called AmeriSafe, which writes workers' comp all over the country now. It's a publicly traded company. We have no ownership in it anymore. But so over that 20 years, I was a reinsurance broker for almost 10 years. I was part of executive management for one of the largest commercial trucking agents in the country. I was part of the Gulf Coast Claims Facility, Ken Feinberg, BP managed response after the BP oil spill.
You believe hurricanes, storms are not the only reason why our property insurance rates are skyrocketing. What do you believe are the other reasons, and how are you going to work to solve that, mitigate it?
We just want a fair premium, and when we have a claim, we want it to be paid quickly and accurately. So there's a balance that I'll have to bring to that office as the regulator, but also to work with the consumers. Yes, we had 4 hurricanes in a 12-month period, 800,000 claims plus, unprecedented. But we also had 9 companies that went insolvent. 9 companies or 12 companies that came in, accepted our premium, and then went insolvent, either for not having enough money in the bank, surplus, or not having enough reinsurance. That's the job of the regulator, is to make sure that those companies that do business here. So you've got to it's a complex approach, right? You need to make Louisiana an inviting state for companies to come in, because if you want lower premiums, which we all want, then you have to have competition first and foremost to drive that down. You can't regulate and you can't mandate rate decrease. That doesn't work.
But how can we kind of police the approval process of these insurance companies coming in to guarantee that they are solvent, they have enough reserves, they have enough reinsurance, so that in times of disaster, they're not going to pack up and leave towns?
That is the job, and has been the job, of the regulator, the Commissioner of Insurance. And if a company comes in under my watch and goes insolvent, that's my problem. The current law says that an insurance company can submit a rate change to the Commissioner of Insurance as long as it's actuarially justified, and that it's not discriminatory, the rate's not excessive, and it's adequate. The current administration has a desk rule in place that says you can only change your rates once every 12 months. That inhibits new companies from coming in. I'm going to follow the law. I'm going to let insurance companies follow the law. And then you and I, as consumers, will determine if an insurance company, if it's too expensive. And that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that allows more companies to come in. And it got back to what I was saying before. You can't regulate and you can't mandate rate change. You can only encourage a free market, an open market system to that.
So let's shift gears, so to speak, no pun intended, and let's talk about auto insurance. The practice of setting premiums rates to credit ratings. Where do you stand on that? Because there's a lot of controversy about that.
We're a poor state. Our average income is low, the number of people that are at the poverty level is high, and so that credit score does impact more people in our state than an average state, if you will. We've got to sit down with the insurance companies and help them understand that what they're currently doing probably negatively impacts more people in Louisiana than, again, say, a Texas. So we've got to figure out a path through that. I'm certainly willing to sit down with all the stakeholders and try and figure out something that's more equitable.
We've made some efforts to reduce the jury threshold, which helps reduce the amount of litigation. Do you see room for improvement there? Do you want to see an additional lowering of that jury threshold for litigation?
I think that was one component of the tort reform that was done back in, I think it was 2020, 19 or 20. Let's look at where Louisiana is an outlier. We were certainly an outlier when we had a $50,000 jury trial threshold. It was lowered to 10. I don't think enough time has taken place to see if that has worked through the court system yet.
So to put a pin in the conversation about auto insurance and property insurance, can you distill your top 3 tangible action steps you're going to take to get a handle on our insurance crisis?
We're going to look at it from a regulatory standpoint. We're going to look at it from a statutory standpoint. It's not a secret that I think that we need to have a special session. In a special session, not to address homeowners, but to address the fundamental issues of the insurance crisis in Louisiana to help affect that change.
That is an interesting concept. How serious are you about calling for a special session to deal with our insurance crisis?
Well, it's not my call to make. It's the governor and or the legislative leadership, the Senate President and the House Speaker. But I've talked to a lot of the gubernatorial candidates, and I've heard several gubernatorial candidates say that they would be in support of a special session. It's unaffordable. That means it's unaffordable today, and it's going to be unaffordable tomorrow. We've got to fix that urgently, and I think a special session would help speed up the process of making Louisiana a more attractive state.
According to the Public Affairs Research Council, newly approved premiums by the Department of Insurance will result in increases of as much as 20% or more for some drivers. These increased rates will take effect when drivers enroll in new auto insurance policies or when their current auto insurance policies are up for renewal.